in a Seres Yemei Tshuva, so we add to davening in Shemona Esrei. We say first Zachreinu l'chaim melech havetz b'chaim v'kasveinu b'sefer hachaim. Because Baruch Hu, you should remember us and write us in the book of life. Zachreinu l'chaim. Then we say Micha Mocha Avarachamim, who's like you. And then then we have at the end, after Modim, we get much more aggressive. We say Ktov l'chaim tovim. It sounds like an Israeli. Ktov. Ktov l'chaim. Well, yeah. Ktov l'chaim tovim. Write for good. B'sefer hachaim. Bracha v'shalom. Parnas l'tayva. Nizacher v'nikasav. Become very demanding. In the beginning, it's more praise. Zachreinu l'chaim. Melchavetz b'chaim. Micha moicha. Then we get what happened in the middle? What happened that suddenly, in the last part of davening, we boosted our confidence? So I heard that in the interim, or right before, what do we say right before? We say Ktov l'chaim tovim. You know what we said before? We say Modim. We say thank you. Say, Master of the world, thank you so much for everything. Timanachnu lach. For everything. For the good. Al chayim. Toiv atoiv kilo chalu rachamecha. V'amachem kilo tamu chatedecha. Thank you for all the goodness that you've bestowed upon us. And after you say thank you, and you ask something, chances are you'll get it. Look at your kids after they say, Dad, you're amazing. Thank you so much for A and B and C. Can I also have a little, you ask so nicely, of course, sure. Right? So I think this year, we have so much we need to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for. Just look back what happened in the year, a whole year. So much chesed, so much kindness on the prat. Everyone around you, we're all here. We all made it, Baruch Hashem. Another year. Hopefully all of us are healthy. Hopefully those who need a refuah will have a full refuah. Those who are in need of parnasa will have more parnasa. But overall, we made it. We made it a year. And on a personal level, I'm sure everyone has so much that they can thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for. And then on an Am Yisrael level, Am Yisrael is on a different plane than we were 12 months ago. And we mentioned that this past week, Yudal at Elul was the beeper attack. It was 1 year to the beeper attack. The Purim in Elul, they call it. Right? The nace of that changed our whole perspective of what's going on in the entire area. So I think, when we say slichos, we're asking for forgiveness. But before we ask for forgiveness, we have to say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you. And then after you say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you can start davening. Then you can start davening and asking for slicha and mechila, and asking for all the bakashas. We always say this mashal, but we'll say it again. Maybe we'll make it a chazaka. It's what Rav Ovadya Yosef always used to say on leading up to slichos, or in Elul. So he said that there were two countries that used to be best of friends. They're mamish the best of friends, these two countries. And there was a little political blow up. And what happened in the middle of the political blow up is it got so bad that the two countries decided we're closing the borders. No one can travel from one to the next. There was one problem. One problem was that the people of both countries were also good friends, and slowly the political divide caused the two countries to become enemies. But the problem is that when people passed away, so you had to they wanted to be buried with their families, and sometimes the families were buried in the other country. So they didn't know what to do. First case after they closed down the borders was an individual who passed away, and he wanted to be buried next to his family. So they didn't know what to do, so they brought it up until they reached the king. The king said, you know what? For funerals, we'll make an exception. So borders are closed. The only time you can get through is if there's a levaya. Fine. So this guy died, and they brought him through, and it was very sad, and they buried him, but he got to be buried next to his family. The family was very happy. Now, because the borders were closed, so all of those people who had business in between, their business started slowing down tremendously. So there was one little yidala, little holy smuggler, who decided, voila, I have an idea. What's the idea that I have? If you're allowed to bring coffins from side to side, so how do they know what's inside the coffin? I'll put in my stuff that I need to sell inside the coffin, and I'll smuggle it across the thing. So the little yidala filled up the coffin with all his merchandise that he needed to sell, and he calls the thing. He says, a family member here, we need to be buried in that cemetery. Fine. They hire a few good Yiddish actors, and they get to the border. Everyone's crying, crying. And the guy, he sees right away that, it's Levi. They bring him through. They cross over. They go to the cemetery. They put the coffin in. Late at night, they take the coffin out, and then they take out all the merchandise, and they sell it. And Kachaya, he continues, but this little holy Jewish smuggler, he got a little greedy, unfortunately. And he used to do 1 Levaya a week. But then he decided COVID hit. So he did 2 Levayas and 3 Levayas and 4 until it got to 5 or 6 a day. And then suddenly the people were wondering, so many dead people from one side to the other. They all need a... So, and then also the actors, since they were going from, one country to the next. So in the beginning they cried a lot at the border. But then they stopped crying. Right? They started even giggling. Here we go again. We're going through. So the king found notice of this. And he decided, he said, we have to crack down on this. Something sounds very suspicious over here. So he waited till the smuggler came in, and everyone was joking around, trying to, right? And then they crossed the border and they stopped them. And he says, you're not, I know you're smuggling something here. He says, no, it's Levi. And they all start crying because they realize that if they're caught, it's over. So now they're really scared. Now the real tears are coming down their face. And they open it up and they see that the guy was smuggling. He's really smuggling. And they arrest everyone and they throw him out. So says Rav Ovadya Yosef, he says, we're now at the border. All of Am Yisrael is at the border. We want to move over into the next year. In the next year, we want to take all the merchandise. We want to have it to be a successful year. Depends where you cry. If you cry before the border, before we get to the next year, we'll be able to bring everything in. But if chas v'shalom, we don't cry before the border, so then there could chas v'shalom be tears after the border, once the year starts. And those tears are usually tears of remorse, tears of, we're in trouble, and not tears of, we can make a difference. So the night of Slichos, I want to invite everyone to shed a tear. I want to invite everyone in the next few weeks to cry for Am Yisrael. First, we're Moed HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all the good. We sing Tov L'Hodos L'Hashem. But now let's shed a tear for Am Yisrael. Shed a tear for each one of us, that we should be zocha to maximize who we are, to maximize our potential, to reach our highest place that each and every single one of us could. Shed a tear for your family, that you should be a good father, that you should be a good mother, that you should be a good spouse. You should be a good child. If your parents are zocha to have a still, you should be a good sibling. Shed a tear for your community, that your community should grow. You should be a good member of your community. That you should help out. You should be able. And shed a tear for Am Yisrael. Shed a tear for all those who are suffering, for the chatufim that who knows the hell they're going through, for the soldiers who are schwitzing. We have Joe over here who's going this week into Miluim. I want to wish him a lot of bracha and atzlacha. Shed a tear for him, shed a tear for Am Yisrael, wherever they are, all the chayalim. Shed a tear for the lahavdil, the fallen soldiers, Avdil ben Chaim l'chaim, and all the pains that the families are going through. Shed a tear for all the sick people, wherever they are. And B'ezrat Hashem, with the tears that we cry before the border, we'll be zocha that after the border we'll be singing again, Tov L'Hodos L'Hashem, L'Zamer, L'Shimcha Elyon, L'Hagid Ba'boker Chazdecha, so let's sing now Tov L'Hodos for all the good, and as a foreshadowing that B'ezrat Hashem next year we'll sing the real Tov L'Hodos in the Beis Hamikdash B'Mra B'Yaminu.